You know, a lot of guys say they hold a grudge, and I'm gonna tell you, don't nobody hold a grudge better than Bad Brad. I had this old boy I raced with at Bowman Gray, Kenny Bost, and I know a lot of my local folks will know who Kenny is. And Kenny and I, we kind of race with each other, man. I started racing at Bowman Gray, and I guess it was about 1990, and man, it was along about 92, 93, and I don't know, man. We'd won a few races. We were doing okay. Running a little four-cylinder car. I had a Pontiac, I think it was a Pontiac Astri. I had bought it from Toby Tilley and got a good deal on it. $2,500 to go racing. And there was a guy there, Kenny Boss. Kenny was a big guy. He was a big boy back in the day. And he'd gotten his first Mustang, you know, and he was racing. And he came over after practice, and he was having some problems. And I don't remember if we loaned him a part, whatever that part was. I want to say it was a carburetor or something. And about 5 minutes before we got ready to go out and go racing, he had a tire that had gone flat. He didn't have a spare. And he said, man, you got a spare wheel and tire? So I loaned Kenny a wheel and tire and maybe a carburetor, fuel pump, something. So Kenny was starting third that night, and I had drawn the pole, and I had drawn the pole very many times. And over there, it was a bit of the follow the leader, unless the guy behind you hated you. And so we were starting the pole that night. Man, they threw the green flag. We went down into turn one, and Kenny never turned left, never lifted. Drove right through me, wrecked me on the first lap. I was pissed. He came over after the race and brought me my parts back and tried to apologize. I mean, I'm going to say 6, 7 years, I didn't even speak to this guy. I was still pissed, holding a grudge, you know. So it was about 99, 2000. My dad had built these Pro 4 cars. They were tube chassis. And I don't think they had coilovers on them, but man, they had some really trick suspension and big motors. And Ronnie Presswood was doing the motors, and Ed Roseman was building the cars. And it was really the predecessor to what we see in four-cylinder cars today. And man, they were cool cars, and they were really fast. But anyway, my dad was going out of town. He said, you can race anywhere you want to race this weekend, but you cannot go to Bowman Gray. I'm like, yes, sir. Well, my Uncle Jeff, he was in town, and I called Jeff, and I said, look, I just want to go over there and practice this car on Saturday morning and just see how fast it is. But we didn't have no radios. And I said, hey, when I come down the back straightaway after the first lap or two, if I'm faster than, say, like 17 seconds, just jump up and down and wave your hands. Because I think the pole for the 50-lap race, which was the only qualifying race we had for the year, I think the pole that year had been like a 17:10, 17:15, somewhere right around there. So, man, I come down the back straightaway after the first lap, and my Uncle Jeff is about to jump off of the grandstands on the back straightaway in the pit. So I'm like, all right, the car's pretty good. And I'm passing people inside, outside, high, low, left, right. I mean, this thing's just bad fast. So anyway, my buddy Charlie Curry comes over, and he goes, I'm going to tell you, Brad, you bring that thing back tonight, I'm going to protest you. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I don't really think I'm going to come race, Charlie, but, man, I appreciate the offer. So I go home, go to the pool that day, and me and the wife were hanging out doing something, I don't remember what. Anyway, I think she was working nights at the time, so she had to go anyway. I didn't have nothing else to do, so I decided I was going back to the racetrack. Well, I had taken the car over in the morning with the dually and a little enclosed trailer we had, but I couldn't get the dually to start. So I let it roll down, and we had an old box truck and an open trailer. No spares, no toolbox, no nothing. I load the car on the trailer, and I haul back over there. And, man, we go to the driver's meeting, and I want to say I started either 12th or 14th, and Charlie started right behind me. He said, I'm telling you right now, you finish in front of me, I'm going to protest you. I said, that'd be fine, Charlie, you protest me. I said, but if you'll mind your P's and Q's, you'll probably win tonight. He says, why is that? I said, just trust me. Well, old buddy Kenny was starting, I think, either third or fifth. And I hadn't raced against him in 7, 8 years. And he had won the championship. I think he was leading the points at that time. Had a good car, fast car. They threw the green flag, and just the way that the seas parted. And if you've ever watched any of that stuff on Flow, you know miraculous things happen. But I'm running like 1590s and 80s, and these guys are running 17 flats. So we are remarkably faster than these guys. Man, I rolled this thing on the outside up to second place, and I think at the end of the second or third lap, I caught Kenny. He's leading. So I start shoving him down the straightaway, and then I start messing with him. I'd get him jacked up, and right about the time he's ready to spin out, I'd let go of him. I'd turn him the wrong way and make him drive down the straightaway, pointing the wheels the wrong way, and shove him in the corner too deep. But we'd get back on the straightaway, and I'd push him away, so nobody was getting near us. And that sucker went 15 green flag laps, which is all the laps we get in a four-cylinder car over there. And on the white flag lap, man, we rolled down into 3, and man, I never lifted. I sent him completely through the pits. and I came around and won it, tore the headlight cover up or whatever, and had no help, had gone completely by myself, totally by myself. And I'm thinking, man, this is probably not good. We're the last race of the night. Fans are pouring out of the stands or going to the pits. I believe Tim McGuire, is either Tim McGuire or Randy Pettit was doing the interview that night and asked me what happened and told him that Kenny had slipped on a banana peel, this, that, and the other. And anyway, I look up, man, and here comes Kenny Bost out onto the racetrack out there during the Victory Lane interview. And they're all like, here comes Kenny, man. He's going to whoop you. And when I say he's a big boy, man, he was probably a foot and a half taller than me, probably 100 pounds heavier. There's no doubt he probably could have whooped me in a fair fight if he could have got a hold of me. But I'm short and scrappy, and I'm fast, so I don't think he's going to get me. So anyway, my buddy Jay Mize was out there, and he's like, man, he's coming out, he's going to fight you. Well, the police are running out there, and man, I happen to look over my shoulders, and I see one of the guys from the volunteer fire station that I was a member of at the time. And then I looked to the left, and I saw another one. Man, there was about 20 of my buddies from the fire station that come. And firefighting is a brotherhood, man. You don't let anything happen to anybody. Well, I turn around and look, and I got about 20 of my closest friends standing behind me. I'm like, man, let this guy swing on me. This is going to be awesome. And my buddy Danny Lambeth, his legs in a cast, he's out there mouthing, he's going to whoop everybody. You'd have to know, man, he's an awesome guy. But Danny's out there ready to protect me, and Brian, everybody's down there, and Kenny comes out there. And the police are standing between us, and he goes, I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. And the police are like, look, man, you put a hand on this guy. You were going to jail for assault. He goes, I don't want to fight him or nothing. He stuck his hand out, and he goes, I know what that was about. You don't think I remember, but I know what that was about. He said, are we even? I said, brother, I will wreck you every time we race. He goes, nope, we're all good. So we shook hands. Kenny and I kind of made up. We've been buddies ever since. But I pulled around to the scales, and I mean, we were like 400 pounds light, and man, this thing had side draft carburetors. I mean, everything you could have to be cheated up. We never had to worry about taking off. You'll never guess who finished second that night. Charlie Curry. And Charlie picked up another win that night. So I told Charlie, I said, man, just a little bit of patience and you'll win this deal. But I got one more. That I held a grudge for. He drove for Jay Fogelman, a super late model deal. And Jay calls me up and says, hey, man, I need to get a suit for one of my drivers. And he tells me who it is. And I'm not going to tell you who it is on the video because I'm going to get even with this guy. Even though I don't race anymore, I'll run him out through the meeting on the interstate if I get a chance, or I'll run over him up here to Food Line parking lot. But he calls me and says, yeah, I got to get a suit for this guy. I said, no, I ain't doing it. He goes, what do you mean you ain't doing it? I said, man, in 1996, he wrecked me for the win at the Turkey 200 at Caraway, and I said, I ain't got over it. He said, are you serious? I said, I'm dead serious. Well, I ended up making him a suit because Fogelman twisted my arm, but anyway, I still owe that guy too. And I think the only guy that I ever ran over that I kind of regret, me and Mike Herman Jr. got into it when we were kids, and we ran over each other a time or two, and he got hurt one time. He flipped, and I don't remember if he bruised his bladder. Something crazy happened, but when you're a kid, your testosterone's all jacked up, and you make bad choices. But I think Mike's probably the only one I ever wrecked that I really ever kind of regretted. I wrecked Ronnie Bassett one time, kind of a bonehead move. Wasn't really a smart thing to do. But again, that kid stuff, your testosterone's flowing, you do bad stuff. We tried to race everybody as clean as we could and be as legit as we could, but sometimes things happen. That's just automobile racing, I guess. But wouldn't trade any of those memories for anything.